Yes guys, welcome back to another episode of the MONOPOSTO track guide series, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Lusail International Circuit in Qatar. This is of course a very new track when it comes to Grand Prix racing in Formula 1. It had a substitute appearance in the COVID affected 2021 calendar, and then it had a hiatus last year. However, we are back this year as the circuit has signed a new 10-year deal to become a permanent part of the F1 calendar. And from my experience of driving this track, it's actually really fun, so I'm looking forward to this track guide. Without further ado then, let's just get straight into it, starting from the pit lane. Now, Qatar is quite an interesting track in terms of setup because it very much resembles Bahrain in layout, so that means that you kind of want a very balanced setup. The setup's the same in terms of as far as wings go. You just want to have the slider level with the G and S in wings, so it's about 50-50. And don't forget, you've got quite a good balance of long straights, fast flowing corners, and also some quite slow speed corners at the end of the first sector, beginning of the middle sector. So it's all about making sure you get that balance. So yeah, as I said, you can just ignore the suspension, the brake balance settings. They're not really going to make much difference to your lap time. Just mainly concentrate on the wings, and then if you want to adjust those, if you feel more comfortable, you can do. Starting the lap then, you want to come as wide as possible, cut a little bit on the inside over that curb, and then bring your car over to the left hand side up into ERS, open up DRS immediately as you blast down the pit straight, and then you're beginning your lap of Lusail. So if you're using manual ERS, disable at this blue overbridge just there. And then turn 1 is not really a low speed corner. Just brake at the 50-meter board. You can use as much of the track as you want, although I personally didn't go over this curb and use the blue runoff on the other side. If you feel more comfortable doing that, that's fine. It shouldn't impact you. At this point, you'll just be coasting, and about here you'll be able to get on the power. If you're doing a hot lap, you should be in 5th gear by this point. And then as you come up to this left-hand corner, just be careful because this really catches you out with actually how sharp this actually is. So just be careful. It's 2 quick dabs on the brake. Use the full extent of the track. So as soon as you've come through the corner, cut across here. Try and avoid the curb on the left-hand side if you can. Well, I mean, you can use it. It just depends if you want to run the risk of accidentally putting a tyre in the grass or something at the end, which is going to cost you some valuable lap time. So I would just stay off it and make sure that you just use the full extent of the tarmac circuit instead. My DRS is a bit bugged. Anyway, brake at the 50-meter board for this corner, then you can bounce off this inside curb and then move your car over to the left, and then you just want a quick dab on the brakes for here. Unfortunately, you can't quite take it flat through here because otherwise you'll end up on the grass on the left-hand side, or you'll end up spinning out, or you just carry too much speed. Any one of the above. And then again, this is the first low speed corner where you want to brake at the 50-meter board. So this is what happens again. If you try and take this corner flat, you just can't do it. The car's just going to go wide onto the grass and you're going to end up spinning out. So this is the correct way to take it. Just a quick dab on the brakes, and then meanwhile back to this low speed hairpin, car on the right hand side on the entry. Just let it roll through this point and then come as wide as you can on the exit. Use the full extent of the track limits. To be honest, it's not really going to make much difference using ERS on here anyway. I just save it for the long back straight which is coming up. And this corner here is an interesting one. It's really easy to get too greedy on the power and just stay on the throttle, but you can't do that because the car's just going to drift wide. So you need to so there's like a short burst of throttle about here, and then at the tightest part of the corner about here, you just want to lift off for a second. Sorry, that was actually a glitch when I was driving, why my car suddenly steered. And then by this point, obviously you're long since back onto full throttle, and then you can keep it flat around here. You don't need to lift off or brake at all for this corner, even if you use ERS. And then this corner is just guesswork. It's not a low speed corner particularly, but just make sure you bounce off the inside curb. You can come wide, use this curb if you need to, and then up into ERS. This is one of the most fun sections on the entire game. I absolutely love the final sector in Qatar. However, it's really difficult to get right, as shown by this outtake. Now, obviously, you might get a bit carried away and want to take these corners flat, but you can't. So for the first one, it's a lift. So for the first one, it's either a lift off slightly earlier, or you can just have a quick dab on the brake, but you should take it in 7th gear. This one is completely flat. Then you can stay on the power on ERS. This is one dab on the brakes. Ride this inside curb, and then you can come use the full extent of the track here. This is either a short lift off or a quick, literally just a smidget tap of the brake. Ride all of that curb, just completely abuse it. And then again, as you come to the final corner, make sure you really open it up, come wide as possible, and then use the full extent of the track up into ERS, DRS, back on the pit straight, car on the left hand side, and that is now your complete lap around the Losail International Circuit. One of my favourites, I've got to say. I'm really quite a big fan of this. It's just hopefully we can have a bit of a better race than we did in 2021 with the new cars, allegedly better racing, although we're not seeing much of that in real life at the moment. And yeah, that's the end of this track guide video. I believe we've only got 4 or 5. We've got 5 more left, so hopefully it shouldn't be too long, and then career mode will resume. Thanks for watching. Please leave any questions in the comments below. Please subscribe. See you next time.